For centuries, we've only heard part of the story. The Jesus you think you know taught much more than what's been passed down to us. Hidden in ancient texts are teachings meant to help us grow spiritually, teachings that, if ignored, could keep us from understanding the true path he showed us. Today, we're uncovering the hidden teachings of Jesus and learning how they reveal powerful spiritual truths we've missed. But why were these teachings hidden, and what do they mean for us today? In this video, we'll look at ancient writings and discover the wisdom that can change the way we see our spiritual journey. From lessons about love and forgiveness to the idea that the kingdom of God is within us, these insights show us how to live with more purpose and awareness. If you've ever felt like there's more to faith, more to spirituality, and more to life than what you've been taught, this message is for you. Together, we'll break down the deeper meaning behind Jesus' words and actions. His teachings were meant to lead us to a closer connection with God and a greater understanding of ourselves. Make sure to watch until the end, because we'll also talk about simple steps you can take today to live out these teachings and find more peace and joy in your life. These aren't just ideas to think about, they're truths to live by that can truly change your life. If this message speaks to you, click the like button to show your support. Don't forget to subscribe to God's Goodness for more videos that uncover hidden spiritual truths from the Bible and beyond. Your journey to understanding starts here. Let's explore together. The kingdom of God is within you. Let's reflect on one of Jesus' most profound teachings. In Luke 17:21, Jesus says, "The kingdom of God is within you." At first glance, these words may seem simple, but their meaning is truly revolutionary. Many interpret this verse as pointing to a far-off paradise, an afterlife destination. But Jesus wasn't talking about a physical place or an external reward. He was pointing us inward, inviting us to discover an inner reality, a divine consciousness already within us. Pause for a moment and let that sink in. This teaching shifts everything. It tells us that the sacred isn't something we need to search for in the world. It's not found in status, possessions, or even religious rituals. The kingdom of God is already here, alive in our hearts. Jesus was teaching us to awaken to this truth, to realize the divine presence that has always been with us. This idea resonates across spiritual traditions. In Eastern thought, it aligns with the concept of enlightenment, the recognition that our true essence is one with the divine. Whether we call it enlightenment, awakening, or salvation, the message is clear. We are not separate from God. The divine spark is already within us. So how do we access this kingdom? Through stillness, reflection, and love. When we pause the noise of life and turn inward, we reconnect with this sacred presence. It's in moments of forgiveness, compassion, and selflessness. It's in the quiet of our own hearts where we feel peace and unity with all of creation. The kingdom of God is not far away. It's not reserved for the perfect or the pious. It's available to everyone, right here, right now. Will you take a moment today to embrace this truth? Close your eyes, breathe deeply, listen. Feel the divine presence within you. This is the invitation Jesus offers us, not just to believe in the kingdom, but to live it. The kingdom of God is within you, and when you truly realize that, everything changes. I and the Father are one. Now let's dive into another profound teaching. In John 10:30, Jesus says, "I and the Father are one." At first glance, this might seem exclusive to Jesus, a claim of divine uniqueness. But look deeper, and you'll see something far more universal. These words are not just about Jesus, they are about us. They reveal the potential within every human being to realize their unity with God. Pause for a moment, think about the depth of what that means. When Jesus said, "I and the Father are one," he wasn't merely describing himself. He was demonstrating a spiritual truth that applies to all of humanity. He was showing us that the divine is not separate from us, but woven into the very fabric of who we are. This is the mystical concept of non-duality, a truth echoed in spiritual traditions across the world. It's the realization that there is no separation between the Creator and creation. In essence, we are one with the divine. But how do we grasp this truth? It begins by transcending the ego, the part of us that clings to the illusion of separation. The ego tells us, "I am here and God is there." But when we quiet the mind and open our hearts, something miraculous happens. We begin to see through the illusion. We recognize that the same divine essence Jesus embodied is within us too. This realization is not about claiming divinity for ourselves. It's about awakening to the divine presence already within us. It's about living from a place of love, unity, and purpose, just as Jesus did. So pause, reflect. Can you feel it? The connection, the oneness, the divine spark within you? When Jesus said, "I and the Father are one," he was calling us to remember who we truly are. He was inviting us to awaken to our higher spiritual nature and live in harmony with the divine. This isn't just a teaching, it's a call to transformation. It's a reminder that we are not separate from God. We never have been. We never will be. The single eye. In Matthew 6:22, Jesus says, "The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light." These words carry profound spiritual meaning, an invitation to look beyond the physical and into the mystical. But what does it mean to have a single eye? What is this light that can fill the whole body? Jesus is speaking about spiritual vision, the ability to perceive divine truths and higher realities. He's not referring to the physical eyes we use to see the material world. No, this is something far deeper. The single eye is what many esoteric traditions call the third eye, the center of spiritual perception and inner wisdom. Pause for a moment, reflect on the imagery. The eye, Jesus says, is the lamp of the body. A lamp brings light, revealing what was hidden in darkness. When your eye is single, focused, undivided, you begin to see with clarity, not just in the physical sense, but spiritually. You perceive the presence of God, the deeper truths of existence, and the oneness of all things. In mystical traditions, this idea is echoed time and time again. Awakening the third eye, through prayer, meditation, and inner stillness, brings light into our consciousness. It's a process of opening ourselves to divine insight, allowing wisdom and truth to flow freely into our lives. But what happens when our eye is not single? When it's distracted by the illusions of the world, fear, greed, or ego, the light dims, our vision becomes clouded, we lose touch with the divine reality within us. So how do we align with this teaching? By quieting the mind, by turning inward. Through meditation and prayer, we can awaken this inner vision, opening ourselves to the light of God's presence. When Jesus says, "If your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light," He's giving us a roadmap to spiritual awakening. He's inviting us to see with the eyes of the soul, to perceive truth, and to live in harmony with the divine. The question is, will you open your single eye? Will you embrace the light waiting to fill your whole being? Being born again? In John 3:3, Jesus tells Nicodemus, "No one can see the kingdom of God unless they are born again." At first glance, this phrase is often associated with baptism or religious conversion. But what if it means something deeper? What if being born again isn't just about a ritual or an outward declaration, but a profound inner transformation? Pause for a moment, let's explore this. To be born again is to undergo a spiritual awakening, a complete renewal of how we see ourselves and the world around us. It's about shedding our identification with the ego, the false self that clings to fear, separation, and control. In its place, we awaken to our divine essence, the true self that is one with God. This teaching parallels the concept of Kundalini awakening in Eastern traditions, where dormant spiritual energy within us rises, leading to higher states of consciousness. It's a process of inner renewal, where we move beyond the limited perceptions of the mind and embrace the vastness of divine awareness. When Jesus speaks of being born again, he is pointing to this kind of spiritual rebirth. It's a shift, a letting go of the old ways of being and stepping into the light of a new, awakened reality. This is not about adding something to ourselves, but rediscovering what has always been within, the presence of God. To be born again means embracing a new way of seeing, a vision no longer clouded by fear or ego, but rooted in love, truth, and divine connection. It's about living from a higher awareness, where the kingdom of God is no longer a distant hope, but a present reality. Can you imagine that? A life renewed, a life awakened. Jesus invites us all to experience this rebirth. It's not reserved for a chosen few. It's available to anyone who is willing to let go of the old and open their hearts to the new. Will you take that step? Will you be born again into the fullness of who you truly are? The narrow path. In Matthew 7:13-14, Jesus says, "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." These words are often seen as a warning about moral behavior. But what if Jesus was speaking of something far deeper, a spiritual journey, a path of transformation? The narrow path is not about rigid rules or outward perfection. It's a metaphor for the introspective, disciplined process of awakening to the divine within. This path is challenging, not because it's inaccessible, but because it requires us to let go of the things we cling to most: the ego, worldly desires, and the illusion of control. Pause for a moment and reflect on that. The broad road is easy. It's the path of distraction, attachment, and living on the surface. It's where we chase after temporary pleasures, external validation, and material success. But these things cannot satisfy the soul. They lead us away from our true nature, away from the life Jesus speaks of. The narrow path, on the other hand, calls us inward. It invites us to detach from the noise of the world and embrace the stillness where the divine resides. It's a path of self-discovery, surrender, and trust. It's about peeling away the layers of ego and reconnecting with the truth of who we are, spiritual beings, one with God. Few choose this path, Jesus says, because it demands courage. It asks us to step into the unknown, to face our fears, and to release the comforts of the familiar. But for those who walk it, the reward is profound: spiritual liberation, peace, and a life rooted in divine love. So ask yourself, which path are you walking? Are you on the broad road, chasing things that cannot last? Or are you willing to take the narrow path to embark on the transformative journey that leads to true life? The choice is yours. The invitation is clear. Will you take the first step? The true vine. Let's explore one of Jesus' most beautiful and profound metaphors. In John 15:5, he says, "I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing." Take a moment to picture this: a thriving vine, its branches intertwined, alive, and fruitful. Jesus uses this image to reveal a deep spiritual truth, our connection to the divine source. When Jesus says, "I am the vine," he's pointing to the divine essence, the Christ consciousness that flows through all of creation. As branches, we draw life, strength, and purpose from this sacred source. Without it, we wither. But when we remain connected, we thrive and bear spiritual fruits: love, compassion, kindness, and wisdom. This teaching reminds us that we are not separate. The branches are not independent of the vine. They are one with it. In the same way, we are part of a greater divine unity, each of us connected to God, to one another, and to all of creation. Pause for a moment. Can you feel that connection? When we align with the divine essence within us, something extraordinary happens. We tap into infinite potential. Life flows through us in ways we cannot explain, bringing peace, clarity, and purpose. Our actions begin to reflect the love and light of the divine, and the world around us transforms. But Jesus also gives us a reminder: apart from me, you can do nothing. When we become disconnected, when we lose sight of our divine source, we feel empty, scattered, and lost. The spiritual fruits fade because we're trying to live apart from the very life force that sustains us. The invitation here is simple yet profound. Remain in me. Stay rooted in love, in truth, in divine awareness. Let the vine nourish you, guide you, and bring forth fruit that blesses the world. Will you embrace this connection today? Will you remain in the vine and allow the divine life to flow through you? Remember, you are not separate. You are part of something far greater, far more beautiful than you can imagine. These hidden teachings of Jesus have the power to transform not just your understanding of spirituality, but your entire way of living. Each one invites us to go deeper, beyond surface-level beliefs, into the very heart of divine truth. If these teachings resonated with you, take a moment to reflect. Which message spoke to your soul today? Was it the call to awaken the kingdom of God within you? The realization of oneness in I and the Father are one? The clarity of the single I? The rebirth in being born again? The courage to walk the narrow path? Or the life-giving connection of the true vine? Comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Your journey matters, and by sharing, you might inspire someone else to explore these truths. If you found value in this video, I invite you to join this growing community of seekers. Hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to click the bell icon so you'll be notified every time we dive deeper into the profound wisdom of Jesus. Give this video a thumbs up. It helps more people discover this content. Here at God's Goodness, we're building a space for spiritual growth, discovery, and connection. Together, we can uncover the timeless truths that unite us all. Remember, the path to enlightenment begins with a single step, and you've already taken it by being here today. Keep seeking, keep growing. Let's walk this journey together. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.